Hello. Beep, 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 beep. How you doing, peeps? Right, here we go again. Another day, another dollar. Now, um, academics are to blame for the woke wreckage at universities. At last, somebody's saying it. Many of us have known for years that the academics are to blame for what's going on. The escape from the confines of academia of various ridiculous and insane ideas has brought devastation in its wake. So it's good to see John Mayer in the Times taking academics to task, which is what this morning's piece is about. As young teachers at Oxford, we know how deep rooted woke thinking is, and it's older colleagues who stood by, nodding it all through. Sagely, I imagine, stood in front of bookcases, looking all dusty and academic. Ah! From Rhodes Must Fall, a student campaign to press the university into removing a smaller than life size statue of the Victorian imperialist from the facade of Oriel College, to the mass sit ins of Black Lives Matter and the pro Palestinian encampments of recent summers, each season has brought a new style of ideological fast fashion. At least such political posturing will have pride and ripe material for student satire magazines, you may think. Well, not exactly. Our own college's satirical publication was forcibly shot down by a student vote on account, of course, of its politically wrong thinking transgressions. Please do, if you like my work and can help me keep going, buy me a coffee. Other than that, come and join us on the Warrior Teacher Programme in October. Let's crack on. Above all, the adults in the seminar room have aided and abetted the spread of destructive errors under the guise of behaving with political neutrality. Incredibly, some even flatter themselves that standing idly by as bad ideas flourish is a way of exercising mature restraint in the marketplace of ideas. That's just an entire paragraph. Some were absolute cowards. Some, wanting to be politically correct, just clenched their bum and kept quiet. That's what it says. I'm sorry. That's how I read it. No cause illustrates this dysfunction better than trans ideology. Is there anything more dysfunctional than the LGBTQ plus hands, knees, and bumps a daisy loons? Right? So, Kathleen Stock, most famously Kathleen Stock, hello, Kathleen, was hounded from her position at Sussex for defending women's rights against encroachment by adult males who claimed to be women. When her work was presented in scholarly forums, other academics objected to being non-consensually co-platformed. I mean, what wankers. These are supposed to be adults. Non-consensually co-platformed with her, an impressively obtuse complaint from the folks who insist that women have no business worrying about the presence of men in their spaces. Holly Lawford Smith, a sex realist feminist, was treated, is there any other kind? Yeah, I suppose there is with those third wave nutters, was treated in a notably underhand way by Oxford University Press, who attempted to rescind her publication contract on spurious grounds. I do like that word, spurious. It's up there with reticule. Jimmy Doyle, a philosophy lecturer, recently left Harvard, where the highly policed atmosphere made it feel, as he told The Times in a recent interview, as though the nation's intellectual elite are enforcing moral auto-lobotomy as a condition of entry to polite society. This is extraordinary. I wrote, goodness me, a few years back now, that this was all neuroeugenics. That's what I call it. It's the neuroeugenics. And he's calling it an enforcing moral auto-lobotomy. Yeah. Not far off, are you? Not far off on our agreement on that one. Worse treatment met Alex Byrne at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT as it's famously known, who, alone among senior analytic philosophers, has published sane, rigorous papers arguing for the view that male woman is an empty category. It certainly is, rather like the bras. A few months ago, Byrne was the target of an open letter organised by his colleagues, accusing him, in characteristically McCarthyite idiom, of collaborating with the Trump administration for helping to author a report about the treatment of paediatric gender dysphoria. It doesn't exist, just made up bloody nonsense. If somebody's got gender dysphoria, what do you want to do? Chop them up! It's just rubbish. For years, trans ideology has presented academics with what economists call a collective action problem. Intervene alone, and the costs can be huge. Bite your tongue, and at least you might have a quiet life. Recently opting for the high personal cost strategy, we published a public essay philosophical malpractice on a brief submitted to the US Supreme Court by 21 Yale philosophers, some of the most distinguished figures in the discipline. Styling themselves as impartial experts, they argued that a state-level ban by Tennessee on medical interventions such as puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones was presumptively unconstitutional. Now, in effect, these academics were intervening on the side of inducing symptoms such as lifelong sterility in psychologically distressed children, that such a position can sail under the flag of political neutrality and do so largely unquestioned is a sign of how far academia is from a healthy intellectual equilibrium. I couldn't agree more. We should never have normalized this. We've normalized it, and that's the problem. What should we do? Let's normalize it. No, it was a massive mistake in the first place, and a massive mistake now. I've always said it, and I will continue to say it. The whole thing needs to end. There is no such thing as trans. It is entire social construction, and it needs to be utterly, utterly purged from our society. And the easiest way to do that is to close the front door, stop every type of treatment or recognition, and then just wait, and they'll all disappear. That's the way to do it. We continue here. Elite academia in America now faces a reckoning. Advocacy groups have used lawsuits to expose its illegal hiring practices. In 2023, the Supreme Court ruled that methods of positive discrimination used by elite universities in admissions were, as many had long suspected, racist and unconstitutional. More recently, maliciously, indiscriminately, and in many cases to the detriment of good science, the Trump administration has forced universities such as Harvard and Columbia to the negotiating table by withholding their vast federal research budgets. Much of the insurgent right on both sides of the Atlantic has revelled in seeing its Philistine agenda put into practice, but elite universities are responsible for putting themselves in a position in which their own culpable failures can be so credibly exposed. For years, these institutions have systematically silenced or ignored the few internal truth-tellers who have tried to sound the alarm about the indulgence of cancel culture, anti-meritocratic appointment processes, the flourishing of anti-Semitism on campus, the metastasizing spread of equality, diversity, and inclusion infrastructure, and the collapse in intellectual standards. All the foregoing are liable to trigger. Now, in Columbia's case, to the tune of $200 million, they are paying the price. Good. You caused it. You tidy it up. America, often regarded as the progenitor of academia's woke obsession, is also the first to try to rein in its excesses. This is a brilliant article, utterly brilliant, and I highly recommend you read it. There is a link downstairs. It cannot be said enough, the culpability of academia in this. And I think that they have damaged what was a reputation in which the public funded them and trusted them. And they let these monstrous ideas escape, and now they're out in the wild. Don't think this is just about trans, because if you do, you've got your head up your backside. This is a hydra, and the whole damn thing is based on EDI, which is all based on political correctness from the Soviet Union. It has to go, and it has to go with prejudice. Let's get in there. Let's get these people out. Let's expunge it from all of the literature. Let's expunge it from all of the processes and procedures, and ensure that it's put back where it belongs, which is in the dusty halls of academia, where they can chew over it all they like. But, keep it away from real life, because it's just fantasy. All right? I'll see you later. Bye-bye.